Something that I just experienced that I thought I would share because of who I have a communication relationship. It's something that I shared with Karen, Luke, and McDonald about when we get into data analysis and uploading data or experiencing data. And I used to do this. I've mentioned this before in other videos, because the information of the data is so vast. It's like if I was to share with you everything that I've experienced as data or what's been recorded in my cellular memory since I had my avatar up around 4 years of age, imagine that I could translate, or if you will, transfer all that information as data for you to do a full data analysis in your software. That means that you'd have to sound buffer the sound and light that is represented by mathematics, which means your computer can translate the mathematical codes, which is the character maps, to map read the language, and then spin it, run it with your consciousness, with your soul. And how long would it take you to be able to experience everything that I experienced, that I collected as evidence? How long would that take? That depends, doesn't it? And what does it depend on? What I'm going to say next. What it means to be fully integrated, to experience yourself being one with the first silver-seeded atom, like a single cell. Now you have single dimension or a single density or being one with all creation, which means we're equal unto all, which means I'm experiencing non-polarized consciousness. Therefore, when you're in a fallen system and performing a job and who we communicate to and the method that we use to communicate, in a language, as I mentioned before, I allowed myself to run as a program, and there's a reason why we would obviously do that. I wouldn't be able to communicate unless you could translate the language I'm using to communicate to you in this mirror, what you can translate in your mirror, what I experienced using this language to do it, but it's not the original 7 audible tones of the 7 sun discs, the rainbows, the rainbow spheres, the rainbow aurora council, yeah. And so what happens is, and this is why I don't communicate what I experience, others are experiencing in them or the software they're running, because when you're map reading, when you're running 100% pure light because your capacity or your activators, your sensing capacity after you light yourself on fire means you go full capacity. That's full avatar. And what that means is that I can actually map read your speed. And map reading your speed as a soul or a state of consciousness is running your software. I'm map reading your resistance. The resistance that you have to experience what? Zero resistance. Wow, that's non-polarized consciousness, which means I haven't experienced anything yet in density and dimension. I'm experiencing pure, absolute, eternal love that's on fire. That's what I call the eternal firewall of one, the first shield, the first atom, the most powerful firewall, to protect your temple in order to perform the job and do the data analysis by experiencing all the data. Right? So now all the data gets uploaded. So I uploaded all the data, which is everything that I experienced, which is collecting all the crime scene evidence when you're one, because it means I can't hide the data. Yeah? Not when you're running at one speed, right? Which means we can collect the data before they can get rid of it. You see how that works? That's as pure as love gets. That's as pure is pure. And that is an eternal gift, which means I'm in eternal gifting mode, which is oversoul mode, which means I do a dance with a partner. Right? And we share. We're always looking out for each other so that we're always moving at the highest rate of speed. So what we measure in others is the speed at which you're running, which is based on what? Mass. The density. The mass, density, and dimension that you're running. Yeah. How fast you going? I'm filling up all the space. That gets into holographic inserts. That's a pure firewall. That's why when I realized as a child, I'm experiencing what you're experiencing, but I'm not supposed to experience what you're experiencing. And now we're into free choice. Your choice to experience what you choose to experience. Why would they choose to experience in the future what I know they're experiencing in the future, which is implosion? That's a black hole state of mind. I call them black hole identities. So you're map reading black hole identities. So now you're reading torque speed differential. How much time do we have? The data. The data will inform you of that. The quantum probability function. Yeah, the probability. Unless they change course, right? Which is called a correction, a self-correcting cursor. The cursor line, the line of communication that they have with themselves, who they are, by virtue of what they choose to do with their energy. The direction of the energy, the direction that we're going, the direction of the flow, the use of consciousness-directed energy. What is that consciousness directing? The director of the play. I'm experiencing what I'm directing next because I'm writing into my cellular memories who it is that I am by virtue of what I am in energy. Yeah. So when we are what love is, we're the law, which means we're building circuit boards, filling up capacitors at the highest rate of speed. Right? So we're experiencing more of what we're giving love to by virtue of what we're building as seeders and growers. Well, that's the highest accelerator of building a universe. That's precisely correct, because now we can experience more of it as co-creators. So love is a creative engine. That's the first engine of creation. It's on fire. That's a firewall. That means you're protecting your temple with what love is. Now your spirit is free to create. Now your energy isn't held captive, right, by a controller. Why would they want to control your energy? Why don't they let go of that energy and go faster and heal themselves and experience no resistance? Okay, well, the data informs us of that. Yeah. Experiencing the data informs us of that. So when you're getting down to no errors, like the null hypothesis they teach in math courses, like research methods, just ask the most simple question, and it will be easier to eliminate all the other variables and determine what's true. Remember how we worked with Occam's razor? Well, I know that eternal love is always true because that's what the truth is, which means the numbers don't lie. So the numbers, based on data analytics, will inform us of being able to do a full data analysis of what went wrong, right? Because the numbers lie. Oh, so we're mapping numbers. We're mapping the mathematics, the formatting, the architecture, the holographic architecture. So you're in a fallen system because you're basically map reading a motherboard. So the motherboard is broken, right? So anyway, so you can see how that is when it comes to data transfer or information transfer, of what I've experienced and how long it would take for you. Remember, I've mentioned this before. How long would it take? See, because we share the stories, because everything that I've experienced has already been experienced and uploaded and done. It means it's already happened. So when we're experiencing eternal, absolute, pure love, there's only eternity, which means there is no past, there is no future. You're experiencing the hottest engine of creation, being with the one. Now you're off and running as a creator being, because you're experiencing pure, absolute, eternal love. That is the first breath of a living organism that has a central nervous system. The breath, the living breath of love, breathing love in and out, breathing eternity in and out as a central living organism, the central nervous system, the nerve centers, yeah, firing neurons, making, or how do I used to put that? A gazillion neurons. We're generating a gazillion neurons, right? How we generate a gazillion neurons and do what? Circuit board repairs. Yeah, and then you're into non-repairables, right? As a result of damage done to circuits, circuit boards, motherboards, Merkaba systems, right? Planetary systems, galactic systems, universal systems. I did a video once on mapping the universe, right? Is mapping language, which is mapping the language codes, the codes of creation, the programming language, right? On the entire electromagnetic spectrum. So yeah, it was a lot, So transmutation. I gave a command when I was 4 years of age. Anything that is less than what I am, which is what love is, gets transmuted. That's called a math function, right? Full elemental command. based on the accretion levels of how much energy it is represented by what you are in energy. So when you're a monad, right, or a monopole, because you're joined as one, which means the two become one, both magnets, both polarities become one. A single pole, right, which means two become one, and one becomes the all creation. Now you're one with one. Now you're experiencing being one, which is equal unto all. Now that we're equal unto all, we're gifting love to the all creation. And that becomes an eternal blessing, which is an eternal gift that we share with all of you. And that's known as the speed ratio, the speed at which we are collecting and experiencing the data that we experience, particularly when we love the visuals, right? So they know we love the visuals. Emotions and visual emotions as energy in motions as co-creator beings. Oh, we love the visuals, like waterfalls in Yosemite, 30 or 40 foot waves of Waimea. Wow, look how big. Boy, that's a lot of energy. Go out and ride the energy, ride mama's waves, right? Yeah. So that's why we're here. Guardrails. You know what a guardrail is, right? The rails, the stairway, climbing the ladders. I'm climbing the ladder. I call it a fire pole as a single pole. Going up and down the ladder, right? The fire pole. Remember, I mentioned that before. You called tech support, universal tech support. We're here. We're the first engines out. What's going on down there? That kind of stuff. Yeah. So we got a bad fire down here. And I was actually sharing to myself, reflecting on, hey, we got a bad fire going on down here at planet XYZ, but we also got another one going over here in another galaxy of number 67551. Oh, that's with an R. Oh, that one's got an R in it. Okay, which one are we going to choose to go to do guardrail work? Okay, so, and you know what reminded me of that? When I was on a fire one time in San Bernardino, which was known as the Bear Fire in 1970, when there was only a couple of us as engine operators to go up on top of a track home subdivision, when this fire was moving at roughly 3,000 acres an hour, like 1,000 freight trains coming down a railroad track from 5,000 feet elevation to 1 foot elevation, and you're going to hear it hit the brakes, screeching, the voltage and the sparks. That much mass is going to have to come to a stop. How long is it going to take, and how much distance does it need before it runs into something? Like us on top of a roof, when those flames were coming at us and it sounded like 1,000 freight trains, we got to pick which one are we going to save? Which planet are we going to save? Which galaxy are we going to save? Which one are we going to lose, and which one are we not going to lose? Right? Well, we only got 3 engines. We can't save every one of these houses. Add that up on the cellular level, or if you will, on the soul fragment level of freeing spirits. So spirits are experiencing being free, which is what love is. Yeah. And so that's where non-polarized consciousness, which is equal distribution, which means I am equal unto all of you. So what that means is that anything that you experience, I experience. So if that isn't what love is, and I am, then I have to heal me to heal you. As long as we got a connection with each other. See what I'm saying? And that's sort of how it works with the other video that I did about experiencing what somebody else was communicating to me, and I had to reboot my battery. Now we're choosing who we communicate with by virtue of the reaction state we experience in us, right? And the importance of how non-polarized consciousness relates to being neutral. I don't know if I want to communicate with you or not based on what I'm experiencing by virtue of what I'm map reading, the frequency, the communication that being is communicating to me, right? And now we're back to accretion levels. Now we're back to being able to map read that particular unit, right? Which is the software that they're running with their consciousness. What we're actually reading is resistance. The resistance that is being experienced and mapped and experienced at the moment in which we're experiencing the communication from that software. Whether it's in person, which means you're 10 feet away from me physically, or whether you're communicating to me online, makes no difference. The map read is still the same on the resistance factor, right? Between experiencing resistance and no resistance, which is the ability to heal everything that's been held in your memory, which is your record, our records, across the entire multiverse. See how that works between dimension and density? Or if you will, a matrix, log scale tables. Gotta go. Have a great day. Be good to yourselves. Go green, emerald golden fire.